Hey everybody, my next guest is a hilarious comedian who has been on the scene for some time and opened up for legendary acts such as Weird Al Yankovic, the Smother brothers B.B.King, and Dionne Warrick. His brand new dry bar special, The Notorious FOD, is streaming now, so make sure you check it out. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Joey Callahan. Joey, how you doing, man? How's everything?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
I like he's been on the scene for a while, which is code for old.
Well, yeah, I mean, how long have you been out there doing it?
Oh, well, first of all, when you start looking at all the people you open for and you go, dead, dead, should be dead. So I think I did my first open mic. I mean, I've always been on stage. I mean, behind me is actually my family's tap room when I grew up. Those are my uncles and my cousins. I always use that as a backdrop. That probably was the first place I ever performed. If I could make my uncles laugh, they would give me shots of beer.
There you go.
Liverwurst and beer was the fundamental 4 food groups of my life. So I think my first open mic was like 1988.
Wow. Yeah, very cool. So you've been in the game since the 80s.
I come from a big family in Notre Dame football. Matter of fact, growing up, my old man would say things to me like, you're not my real son. My real son plays football for Notre Dame. I'm like, oh, what a coincidence. My real father could afford to send me there.
No, so that's cool. So growing up in Philly, you had the bar, you had the pub, and that's was your family funny? Is that how you got into this?
Yeah, it's funny. My dad was a needler. He would bust your balls and go, I'm just joking. So you had to develop a thick skin. But my uncles on my mother's side, my mother was an O'Connor. So I'm a Callahan O'Connor. My grandmother was Gallagher. So it's like I'm related to the cast of Riverdance.
I'm a Callahan. My mother was an O'Connor. My grandmother was a Gallagher. It sounds like a law firm you would not want to hire. Callahan, O'Connor, and Gallagher, and Goldberg. People calling up, give us the fourth guy. Can we talk to the fourth?
They were always great storytellers, and they will always make you laugh. But the ones who could do it without making you feel bad were the ones that showed finesse, in my opinion.
Exactly, and you kind of carried that through because a lot of your style is kind of like storytelling.
I do. It's very autobiographical. I like the whole court. I had my uncle Joe O'Connor would sit at the bar and just the whole bar would just listen to everything he said. And then one of my best friends in the whole world, I desperately miss, was Jeff Parami. And Jeff Parami could hold court like, my God, he was a weather front, like when he would open his mouth. So
and I went up to him. I said, "Don't you know drinking all that soda is bad for you?" He looked up. He said, "My grandfather was 80 years old and in the Olympics." I said, "Oh, did he drink a lot of soda?" He goes, "No, he minded his own business."
And that's what you draw from. You draw from your experiences growing up. You draw from Philly. You definitely draw a lot from your family. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and the new special, The Notorious FOD, kind of says it all.
The father of daughters. Yeah.
I live with all women. I got it down to a science. I just wake up and apologize to the first one I say.
So it's funny too because I'm reading the comments, right? And I'm responding to the comments on YouTube. And then I get 2 separate calls from both of my daughters telling me, stop picking fights with people who make comments. I'm like, they're a jackass. I look like an old John Cena. I've got John Cena. I got fat John Cena. I'm like, first of all, jackass, you couldn't say John Cena's older brother.
Yeah, right.
And they always like, let me see a picture of you. Let me see how you look like after the pandemic, you bastard.
John Cena, that's not a bad one to be compared to.
I don't get it. My girls tell me I'm like Alec Baldwin. I go, why do you say I'm like nothing like Alec Baldwin? She goes, I don't know, the way you move and you got that big Irish head. It's just, older Irish guys all have that big head. I'm like, yeah. Like, no, I got no reply to that.
Yeah. So, what are you saying back to these people? How you're actually engaging with them?
Well, actually, all fairness, we take the hat off to them. Dopey. They're really nice. Majority of them are really, really nice, and I end up like a lot of times just thanking them. And one of the comments was, it's amazing how casual he is about child abuse, because I talk about my dad. Right. And I go, well, it's my story, so I'm used to telling it.
Let me explain something to you. My father was an Irish Catholic Teamster. Do you want to see aggressive? You have no idea what aggressive is.
Telling it, and the guy goes, no, the comedian was very casual. And I finally go, I'm the comedian. And you can hear the guy's ass typing, I never expected you to reply back to me.
Right.
So, but
That's cool.
they say reviews. The good ones aren't good enough, and the bad ones will kill you. So I've just stopped reading the comments.
It's hard to read them, but sometimes you just can't help but read the stuff. It's responding that you have to.
Well, I come from an environment where you always got the last punch in. Like there's two guys from grade school I haven't run into yet, but they're gonna get one in the mouth. I haven't forgotten these guys.
Yeah, exactly. So, I got a couple
Bobby
of those
Walker,
too.
You out there? I'm gonna find you bastard.
I got a couple of those guys too.
Yeah.
But like you talk about like growing up and your dad. They want to call it abuse or whatever, but that's how we grew up. I grew up I was a 70s kid. Yeah, right. And when you grow up that way, and look how we turned out. We're respectable human beings.
We're not malcontents. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not easily offended. We're not sitting there complaining on Twitter about everything, So
yeah, my theory is make fun of everybody or don't make fun of anyone. It's the guy who picks and chooses you want to keep your eye on. That's
those are the scary ones.
And coming from a place of hate, like you call someone a Pollock bastard. You do it with love. You don't really mean any acrimony about it, you dumb Pollock bastard. I say it with love.
Right, and there is a difference. And people don't understand that there is a difference when you're making fun of whatever stereotype it might be. Mm-hmm. It's coming from a fun place, and you can tell the difference when it's mean spirited and when it's not. And I think we've lost that. Now you can't say anything without.
But there's truth to every stereotype. I mean, the Irish do like to fight, and we do like to drink. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, it's true. So every stereotype has a little bit more truth in it than people are willing to admit.
My dad would give me Alamo beatings. An Alamo beating was if I would just shut up, he'd stop beating me. But I was going out like the Alamo. The odds were against me. My guns were a-blaring. I don't know what I did one day. He chased me up to my room. I shut the door. I put my back against the door. He literally put his fist through the door and was reaching for me like a zombie movie.
That's true, and that's what I think. That's what the problem is. I think we're in a culture now where everybody gets offended over everything, and even though the fun of it, growing up with all the different, I grew up in Long Island, New York. We were a melting pot. We had.
Oh, was that where Long Island is? Long Island, New York. I wasn't sure where that was. Okay, good. Yeah. Oh, is that where that is?
We're trying to separate ourselves from New York and just be our own separate island. No, but yeah, growing up there, it's a melting pot, probably just like Philly, and you got every race is there, and we just all would mess with each other as kids, and it was never malicious, it was never mean spirited, it was fun. And
we moved at one point, right? And the Catholic church I went to was Our Lady of Calvary, but it was a Polish parish, right? But that was where we lived, so we went there, right? So the nun, this is honestly got a true story. Sister Romuald, she's reading like the names of the kids. First day I'm there, I'm just new kid of new school. I don't know anybody. She's going like Kolinkiewicz, Yankovic, Pionkowski, and then she gets to my name. She goes it's Callahan, sister, and she goes, I'm not good with the foreign names. So.
You gotta love it, man. Callahan's a foreign name.
Yeah, to a Polish nun. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Who fought the Nazis? Give it to her. All right, sister. You fought the Nazis. You can mispronounce my name. It's okay.
There you go. So now that's the good thing about when you're doing stand-up, we could draw from all these experiences and draw from the family. Tell me a little bit about this new special got on Dry Bar. We want everybody to go watch this thing.
Oh yeah. So it's first of all, it's taken me 30 years of stand-up to finally get a special produced by the Mormons. So I'm very, very. I'm like, I've got my next special is going to be produced by the Branch Davidians. But no, it's fantastic. It's weird part about it was I shot this February of 2020. I flew to Salt Lake, drove to Provo, did 2 shows. They're wonderful people. The Dry Bar, the Vid Angel people, fantastic, right? But then, we had a little bit of a global pandemic, so everything was shut down. And I would like it's so funny because at one point at the time, my oldest daughter was 23. She's now 25. But in the special, and was it a year and a half ago, I said, I have a millennial, she's 23. And people are writing, that's not a millennial. And I'm like, she's a millennial. And I'm arguing with people. I'm like, she was born in 1996. And finally, my daughter steps in and goes, Dad, stop fighting with them.
Got my older daughter, Emma Frances Callahan. She is a millennial. They're fun.
But they were wonderful. And it got a chance to, you have to be squeaky clean, but you have to be funny. So that's a powerful combination. But guys like people like Chris Monty shot his. I can't wait.
Oh,
to
yeah.
see Monty, Goomba Johnny shot one.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Gaffney's is hysterical. Here I am on your show plugging other people's specials.
Both great guys, though.
Mike Gaffney's very funny.
Goomba, both of those guys you mentioned have shows on GOVS Radio along with me. Chris Monty's got a poker show, and then Goomba Johnny's got a show he does with Anthony Rodia. So yeah, so you just named two great guys. But yeah, I mean, when you do a dry bar special, I think, from what I've seen, most of your stuff's already clean, but do you find it challenging to do you have to really be cautious of when you're on stage of what you're saying, or is it just natural now?
A lot of times, I mean, I get in trouble for saying things that, like you said, the politically correct police. That's where I get in trouble. And I'm not really a dirty guy. I'm actually kind of prudish, and I live with all women. And like my daughters know it. And I remember my youngest was in high school and she was taking health class. I went to Catholic school. We didn't have health class. So she said, "Hey, Dad, we're learning about birth control." And I could just feel my ass tighten. And this is a true story. I actually was ready for it. She goes, "Any women in your family ever have an IUD?" And it just came right out of my mouth. I go, "No, but you had a bunch of uncles who had DUIs." It was like, damn, that's good. I'm going to write that down.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Now, I feel your pain as being I'm a fellow FOD myself. I got four of them. I got four. Yeah.
Great story. See the guy? I don't see the guy with the hat. That's my grandfather. Behind the guy with the hat is my uncle Johnny O'Connor. Greatest human being on the planet. Died of Parkinson's. This guy should have died in his sleep. He was just a beautiful man. So he's got 4 daughters. He's got Parkinson's. I call him up. I go, "Hey, Uncle John, it's Joey. I just had my second daughter." He goes, "That's fantastic, kid. All her fingers, all her toes. I guess she's beautiful." He goes, "Bring her around, but do me a favor. You're in the hospital. Get clipped." I go, "What are you talking?" He goes, "Get clipped. Get the vasectomy." I go, "John." He goes, "Listen, kid, I'm telling you, 4 daughters, Parkinson's. There's no coincidence."
Yes, indeed. I feel your uncle's pain, and and I'm glad. I don't know if you got clipped or not, but
I don't know if my mother will be watching this. We won't go. There may have been a procedure.
Yeah,
so
because
I was actually born with 1 kidney. Now my mom would tell me, "Oh, in the 60s we smoked and drank, and you were fine, right?" So I find out I have 1 kidney, right? So I go to get my vasectomy, right? And the nurse goes, "Can you put any type of music you want on?" I said, "Put smooth jazz on." Fair enough, right? So the doctor comes in and he gets on my right side. He clips it. Oh, boom. Okay, all right, let's go to the next one. All of a sudden, he's grabbing, and all of a sudden he looks at the nurse and goes, "Go get the other doctor." And I'm like, "What the frick's happening?" So 2 men are in there and they're smacking my left ball. At the time, on the radio is "Sexual Healing" by Marvin Gaye. And I looked at him, I go, is this as awkward for you two as it is for me right now? And I just innocently said, "I was only born with 1 kidney." And they both looked up and they said, "If you only have 1 kidney, you only has one vas deferens." So they said, "It's amazing that you were able to have kids." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, let's go back to the 1 vas deferens. Do I only get charged for half because you didn't have to do the other one?" So
that's great, man. I hope you worked that stuff in your bit too. That was a great story.
No, I haven't been able to figure out how to do that story on stage yet, but it's in the notebook. So.
Yeah, man, you just did. You should just what you just said now. Just work that in. It was perfect. Yeah. It was great, man. You rock, dude. So during the COVID era now, when we're all do your daughters live with you still?
No, my oldest is on the up. She did come back. She's on the Upper East Side. And my youngest is at Temple, but they came home, and it was a point where I'm like, "God, Jesus, Mother of God." I would hide because we're comics. We're used to being on the road. We're used to having a certain autonomy and freedom. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? So it's like a caged beast.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I'm wondering, because you're a family guy, and a lot of stuff's built around family. Does the quarantine times that we just lived through for over a year, do you think those were better for family bonding, or did it tear families apart? Like,
No, I gotta be honest with you. I was always on the road, so I hate to say it, but my lovely bride kind of ran the show, and I was kind of like the guest appearance. Oh, here's Daddy, for as long as Daddy. Oh, Daddy's going again. So, but with the lockdown, they were young women, and we got to spend a lot of time. Every Friday night, we would have happy hour. My youngest is a fantastic cook, so I mean, I've got so freaking fat during it. The joke is, I don't know if I'm going to get corona, but I am fast tracking type 2 diabetes. But we got together. We did really well, and I have to say I've gotten a lot closer with my daughters. My older one and I usually butt heads, but we've gotten along quite well.
Yeah, that's right. I think when I look at it, my own experiences, but also, and I only have my stepdaughter lives with me, and all my kids are not with them, like an empty nester, pretty much. My oldest,
and you're
is
still in
third.
the basement.
Yeah, exactly. But I look at it as a positive. I think that a lot of people that I talk to, I think it worked out in their favor with the family stuff. It really brought families back together. And in the beginning, you would have thought, oh my God, this is it. There's no way I could stay in the house with these people all day, every day. But I think and that says a lot to the family structure, I think.
There was that Groundhog Day where you get up and it's like, and and you just the same thing over and over. And then, I became addicted to YouTube. Like, that's just a dangerous thing. Trump's a moron. Oh, I'll watch this one. 6 hours later, I'm still watching different videos. So,
Yeah. And exactly. We all went through all these phases. It's funny when you look at through the last year or so, everybody went through these phases. I remember when people would, all of a sudden, all the women, for some reason, it's like went back to the pioneering days. They all wanted to bake bread.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of cooking in my house with all women. And if you had a show, someone had a show like, hey, I got a show for you to watch. Like, you were just looking for something to binge, something to activate your mind.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder how many of us worked on our act. Like, I'm gonna write today. I'm going to look Hoagie. Yeah, look at Kate.
Did you ever do any Zoom stuff? Zoom appearances?
Yeah. I actually did a couple Zoom shows. I actually did a Zoom show in Belfast, which was really cool. I was like the only American on the show, and you did stand up, and they were very nice. And then a couple country clubs did the Zoom. I didn't like it, but I will tell you, it was like, whatever I got paid, it was a lot of money. And it's like, good night. I hit the button and I walked up to the button and went, oh, I'm home. So I'm like, it's not so bad.
Yeah, it definitely had its advantages. I could see where the struggles would be, as far as timing and getting the laughs and, doing comedy for the computer. But I've seen arcs of other comics, like Chris Monty, for example, who got really good at it.
Yeah. Chris is absolutely the tops in my book. Just a fantastic comic, and he's the right tool for the right job every time.
Yeah, true indeed. But I think when I look at your stuff and it's all relatable, the comedy, it comes from a real place, and I think that some of the best humor comes from families, whether it's your dad, being strict and all that, or you being a dad and with daughters and all that stuff. I think it's something that everybody can relate to, whatever it transcends. We talked about all the different stereotypes. It transcends all the races and stereotypes. Everybody can relate to family.
Well, I'll tell you, I did the Edinburgh Comedy Festival, the Fringe Festival, and I was like the only American at the time, and I would do my act, and like these Scottish guys would come up, or Scottish women would come and go, oh, it's like you grew up in my house. And then I've done shows in Canada where, in Ireland, where basically all over there, it's relatable. So humor is funny. It doesn't know geography.
And that's huge, especially like you said, you did travel to all these different countries and perform there. And there are different cultures and different senses of humor, and like England has a really weird, different sense of humor. A little. They like to think
there's like, it was a comedian I saw, Danny Boy. He's a very funny guy, but I was a little disappointed. He said, you know, British audiences are really smart, but they don't have the enthusiasms. Where American audience have a lot of enthusiasm, but they're not that smart. I'm like, come on, Chief. I've been several gigs in Glasgow with a bunch of dumbass drunken Scots. They're not men's and members. So don't act like you're that much more erudite. And guess what? We've got our own country. You're still a suburb for the Queen. So shut up.
There you go, zing. There you go, nicely done. Yeah, so like you know, when you were doing, like, what would you say are some of the biggest takeaways from some of these other countries?
Well, you know, it's shifting the gears in the sense that little things, and that's the big things, it's the little things. So for instance, pants to them are underwear. So pants to them, what we think are pants are actually trousers. Napkins or diapers are nappies. So those little things. But for the most part, you got to slow it down. You can't go blah, 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 because they have trouble with the accent. So you learn the rhythm. I did a couple of like British talk shows, and they were really nice, but they treated you like they treated Americans like we created stand-up. Like it's like jazz. It's truly an American art form that's now really branching out globally. But I'm very proud to say we were the first. We were the ones that were that kind of honed this craft.
Right. What's the camaraderie like with these comedians? Because I know that like you're saying, that they understand and respect the fact that stand-up is an American pastime, so to speak. So what's the camaraderie like with you amongst them? Do they accept you?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, funny is funny, and if you're not an asshole, that always helps. So not an asshole and funny, and you're respectful. Like whenever I had the opportunity to perform in Europe, I don't forget that I'm a guest in their country. You know, I'm not going to criticize them or say something that I don't like. I wish sometimes they would extend me the same courtesy, because you know, like, hey guys, I'm not talking politics. Knock it off. So
right.
but again, for them, making fun of America is actually punching up. Like if I did it, I'm kind of punching down. So
I was in you know, when I was walking along England, I think like
that's a big walk. That's a big country.
yeah.
Where did you start? Where did you end up? So
I was walking through London, and what's it, that circus?
the Trafalgar Fair, Piccadilly Circus.
Piccadilly Circus. I was walking through Piccadilly Circus, and then one of those guys come up to me.
Worst circus you'll ever see. There was not one lady. There was not
it was such
a midget. There was no cannonballs.
It was such a disappointment. I was looking for a clown. It was, but some guy came up to me, you know, like just like in Manhattan. He had a card. Hey, you want to see a comedy show? So I said, yeah. Ended up going to this comedy show in a hotel room, and all the comedians were like so anti-American, man. It was there was a lot of people from all over the world there, like, you know, South African people, Australian people, Irish people. And I was just, he goes, any Americans in the house here? And I stayed quiet. He's like, good, so let's talk about them. And then he started ripping us.
That's right up there with the fat guy who moves the microphone and says, "Oh, I wanted to make sure you could see me." That's any American. No, let's talk about them. So
yeah, right. Yeah.
Again, yeah, it's punching up. Let them have their fun.
Yeah. It's just weird because you can kind of gauge the temperature of what people think, you know, because the truth is said in jest a lot of times, and to see that this is what these, you know, the comedy scene are like abroad sometimes, you know, it's just weird.
Well, they have they're nuts with the soccer over there. So my guy who produced my show was my college roommate, and he's from London. So Glasgow Celtic was playing Rangers. So it's a big Catholic team playing the big Protestant team. So he booked me for their pre-match luncheon for their premier fans. And mother of God, it was not a good scene. Like the anger, like right? So they go, all right, now, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from America, let's put our hands together for a wee funny lad, a very funny person, Joey Callahan. And you're like, I'm like, Jesus, mother of God. So I said, my opening line was, I understand you guys don't like each other. Like, I said, they wanted you guys to get along. So what they did is they put an American on stage so you both hate me together. And then I got this big laugh, and then they were mine. So
that's awesome.
So they call it taking the piss. I took the piss out myself. So
there you go. And that's crazy the way they are with football and
oh yeah.
Man,
That's scary. I mean, I went to the match. I'm like, I've been the Eagles game. I've been the Giant games. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna. I feel safer at a Jets game.
and that's coming from a Philly guy.
I know.
Where they threw the batteries at Santa Claus,
Well, he had it coming. You didn't get their side of the story. You only got Santa Claus's side of the story. One lump of coal too many, and they had enough.
There you go. So what do you got cooking these days, man? You still touring? You back at it?
It's coming back. It's starting to come back. This Saturday, I'm at the Pocono Palace, the couples only resorts, where you're in a room by yourself with a heart-shaped jacuzzi. Nothing says loser more than being in a room by yourself with a heart-shaped jacuzzi. So I called my wife. I said, I have a heart-shaped jacuzzi in my room. She goes, "You're going to go in it?" I go, "There is not enough Clorox in the world to convince me to ever go in this. I don't care if I had a hazmat suit from Chernobyl. I'm not going in that." But my manager, Tom Ingenio, the grumpiest old dago you'd ever meet, has been great for me. He gets me work. It's like Louis from Taxi. What? I'm like, "You're here this weekend. All right, Tom, just tell me to go. I'll do you tell me, I'll bring the checks, not a worry."
No, that's awesome. I would never go in that hot tub either. You don't know what the hell that thing's been through. You don't know. Like you said, I don't think.
But there's another example. Like it's a rough crowd, and right before the pandemic, I was there. No bullshit. There's a guy who had a Rahway State Prison T-shirt in the front row, and I just said to him, I go, "Were you in prison, or do they have a gift shop?" Some kids running around Newark going, "My dad got 20 to life, and all I got was his lousy T-shirt." So.
I had a corporate gig in Roanoke, Virginia. I had to check into my fancy hotel, the La Quinta, and and the guy hears my accent, like, "Where are you from, boy?" I went, "Philly." He goes, "You better be careful, Yankee. This hotel's haunted." I go, "Pal, I'm from Philadelphia. I ain't afraid of a southern ghost." I'm laying in bed all night long. All I hear is, "Boo. Boo, y'all. I like NASCAR. Boo."
Yeah, when you tour around, so are you're pretty much a road guy? You bounce around a lot before the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of corporate stuff. I do some stuff in the city. I was at Gotham on Monday doing
nice.
the tech drop thing. They were taping a show, very funny comics, Tom Cotter, good guys. And I was the guy that goes, "I was going to drop the check, put Callahan up there. Let's see how long he can last." So you wherever you go, I don't get intimidated. I don't like working down south. Like I'm sorry, let me revise it. It's a little different. You talk about Europe hating Americans. They hate us. Your accent, my accent. They got a chip on their shoulders, because they're 0-1.
That's why I used to live there. I lived in North Carolina for about 12 years. Then
you must have stuck out with that accent, man.
Oh, I did. It was my whole identity. That's why when I came back home, I was happy because there's a million of me. Yeah, but out there, they used to get mad at me. This one guy, he was like, "Every time a Yankee moves down here, I could tell because a new pizza place opens up." And I was like, "Yeah, you know why? Because we won the war, dude."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "I'm gonna tell all my friends about this place." "No, please don't tell anybody." "I'm gonna tell all my friends."
That's great.
But yeah, so I know what you mean about the South. And there's parts of like North Carolina where when I would go there, I wouldn't want to talk because I know if they heard the accent, they might be like, "What the hell? Is that a Yankee?"
When you're in a place like that and you hear a guy with your accent, you have like, I'm not alone. If there's going to be a fist fight, at least I know I got the guy from Long Island.
Yeah. And we all stuck together down there too. So like if we met somebody from Philly or from Boston or New Jersey, we were the Northerners and we would just all stick together. We had to, because
it's so funny when you get like a Yankee and a Red Sox fan getting along. You know it's down south because they get like we do. Look, man, we just got each other. Let's not screw this up here.
Exactly. It's like my enemy's enemy is my friend type.
Yeah. We get up 195 North. Your ass is mine, but right now you're my buddy.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how we rolled. Oh man. So So yeah, so you got the Dry Bar show. It's out now, right? People can watch it now.
So here's the thing: they switched the platform to it's a paid product platform. However, special deal just for your audience. If they use the promo before midnight tonight, if they use the promo code Joey Callahan, they can get it for 7-day trial.
Oh,
so
excellent.
what I would tell you to do is sign up with Joey Callahan, cancel on the 6th day. Just watch a bunch of comics. Watch the Joey Callahan, the Goomba Johnnies, the Mike Gaffneys, watch these guys and then cancel.
There you go. There you go.
And
this
then a
is
week
great.
later, sign up with Chris Monty and whoever just keep using codes. You'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go. So the the Joey Callahan promo code will get you 7 days trial.
7 days.
And then
they're
you can
very
watch the
religious,
show.
the Mormons. It's biblical. It's on the 7th day we will charge you.
That's great. Yeah. Well, Joey, tell everybody where they could find you and follow you and
please. So joeycallahan.com. Twitter is at Joey Callahan, and on Facebook at Joey Callahan Comedy, and Instagram Joey Callahan Comedy.
Yes, sir.
MySpace, AOL. No, I'm joking.
I'm hoping you come through Long Island. We're here at Governor's Comedy Club.
Yeah, I did Governor's once. What a great room! And who's the guy I love the guy who runs Governor's. I live with James. I live with all cops, and I just looked at him. I go, "Were you on a job?" He goes, "Nah, I was in prison once." I go, different same union, different local."
Exactly.
Really good people at Governor's. I want to come back to Governor's. It's just it's a schlep from Philly, man. When that drive, my God, Long Island should be a penal colony because you can't get on it or off it. So.
That's true. I was just in Philly. I had to go to the airport. Actually, my mother-in-law got stranded there. Like the flight got delayed for like almost a whole full day. So we drove there. This is just like last week. I was just at the airport in Philly about a week or so ago.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a nice drive. At the 1 o'clock.
I would have gone. You should have called me. I would have picked her up.
Yeah, there you go. Good times, my friend. Well, yeah, Joey, you rock, man. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Listen, you were so kind to have me on and thank me. I mean, I'm not a New York comic. I'm not a Long Island guy. For me to break past that wall of Long Island comics to be on your show, it means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. And I love Philly. A lot of great comics from Philly too. You got Dom Maieras, right? One of your guys.
Yeah, Dom's like the Pope of Philly.
Yeah.
And, Steve Schaefer is another great guy. I just worked with Steve Schaefer. We worked at an Italian club in Seaside Heights.
Oh,
and it was so funny. It was like every old Italian and their mother, and they introduced, "Put your hands together for Joey Callahan." And it was like my opening line was, "I'm as surprised as you are." There was a horrible error in booking. I apologize. So.
That's great. Well, all the best to you, my friend. Definitely keep it. I'd love to have you back on. Yeah.
I would love to be back. I want to do the game show. That's what I want to do.
I would love to have you on the game show.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Well, Joey, you rock, my friend. Thanks again for everything. And we'll talk to you. All right. Take care.
Be safe. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Joey Callahan, everyone.